The dream of bringing Trey Murphy to the Boston Celtics is still alive, but the realistic chances of making this blockbuster deal happen just got much more difficult. Recent offseason moves have complicated everything. The front office completely shocked the basketball world by trading away Jaylen Brown. That massive move was supposed to clear the way for future upgrades. Instead, it created a whole new set of roster issues. Fans are desperately hoping that Brad Stevens can pull off another miracle. They want to see the talented New Orleans Pelicans forward wearing green next season. He is the ultimate missing piece for this roster. But the financial reality of the modern league is incredibly harsh. The rules of the collective bargaining agreement make major trades very tough. Boston is now finding out just how restrictive these new rules are. There are currently only two pathways left to acquire the rising young star. The Celtics would have to part with either Derrick White or Paul George. Neither option looks realistic or easy to execute right now. Derrick White is an absolute fan favorite in Boston. He had a bit of a down season on the offensive side of the ball recently, but his defensive impact and basketball intelligence are irreplaceable for this team. Pelicans reporter Shamit Dua recently confirmed some major news regarding these trade talks. He stated that White would not be included on the table in any deal. The front office refuses to give him up. That leaves newly acquired veteran forward Paul George as the primary matching piece. The front office has already faced massive national criticism for trading Jaylen Brown to get him. Flipping him now would be wild. The logic behind a potential Paul George trade completely falls apart when you look closely at New Orleans. The Pelicans had absolutely zero interest in acquiring Jaylen Brown during the initial trade talks. If they refuse to trade for a younger star like Brown, they will certainly not trade for George. Why would they swap a young building block for an aging veteran? It makes no sense for their current timeline. NBA insider Jake Fisher recently revealed another massive obstacle during his latest live stream. He reported that Boston would actually have to include premium draft capital just to move the contract of George. His massive salary is currently viewed as one of the absolute worst contracts in the entire league. Teams are terrified of taking on that long-term financial burden. Boston lacks the leverage to dictate terms. The financial math gets even more complicated from there. To make the matching salaries work out in a trade, New Orleans would have to include other major players. They would have to part with key guards. They would likely have to include either Dejounte Murray or Jordan Poole in the transaction. Pelicans front office has absolutely no desire to sacrifice their core depth just to acquire an expensive veteran. Many optimistic fans point directly to the massive trade exception as the ultimate solution. Boston still holds a $27.7 million exception from the previous Anfernee Simons trade. That enormous exception is technically large enough to absorb the contract of Trey Murphy. He is scheduled to earn $27 million next season. On paper, the transaction looks incredibly clean, but the actual mechanics of the league's salary cap are never that simple. CBS sports analyst Sam Quinn recently clarified the situation. He explained that the trade exception cannot save them this time. The strict rules of the tax aprons completely paralyze their spending power. Boston used their mid-level exception to sign Mitchell Robinson in free agency. That single decision triggered a hard cap. The team is now permanently hard capped at the first apron line for the upcoming season. That hard limit sits exactly at $209 million. The current roster payroll is already way too high. The Celtics are currently sitting right around $204 million in total salaries. That leaves them with a tiny margin of error. They only have about $4 million of space remaining. Please take a quick second to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you want to stay updated on these crazy roster rumors. Your support allows us to keep breaking down these complex cap situations. Absorbing a $27 million player into the exception is impossible now. It would instantly push the team deep over the first apron hard cap line. The league office would immediately block the deal. The only way to use the exception is to shed an equal amount of salary first. That requires moving core rotation pieces, which defeats the entire purpose. The pathway to simply adding talent is completely dead. The front office is likely focused on a completely different goal right now. They want to avoid the luxury tax entirely this season. That would require dropping the payroll down to $201 million. Achieving that financial target would allow them to completely reset the dreaded repeater tax. Resetting that penalty buys them massive freedom for next year. It buys them the green light to spend heavily later. Brad Stevens has pulled off incredible basketball miracles in the past. He is widely considered one of the sharpest executives in the sport. He always manages to maximize the value of his assets. But he has rarely ever completely ripped off his trading partners. He believes in making fair deals that benefit both sides of the transaction. New Orleans is not going to give away their prized asset for free. The Pelicans are not viewed as the best managed franchise in the league. but they have stood completely firm on their high asking price for Murphy. They recognize his immense value as an elite sharpshooter. The young forward averaged over 21 points per game last season. His combination of size and shooting accuracy makes him a perfect fit for the modern game. Every team in the league wants a player like him, and technically still pull this blockbuster trade-off. Will require Brad Stevens to pull an incredible amount of strings. He will have to perform total wizardry with the salary cap rules. The paths forward are filled with immense traps and financial hurdles. The initial excitement over the trade exception has completely faded into reality. The roster flexibility is at an all-time low. Rival contenders in the Eastern Conference are watching this situation closely. The New York Knicks and Philadelphia 76ers have aggressively upgraded their groups. The pressure is mounting on Boston to respond. Jason Tatum needs elite floor spacing around him to maximize his game. Trey Murphy would provide the ultimate release valve on the perimeter. His presence would make the offense completely unstoppable again. But the road to New Orleans is blocked by massive financial mountains. The front office must decide if chasing this dream is worth destroying their remaining depth. The stakes have never been higher for the franchise. We will see if Brad Stevens has one final trick up his sleeve before the season begins. The upcoming months will decide the ultimate fate of this championship window. The entire basketball world is waiting. Let us know what you think about this incredibly complicated trade saga in the comments below. Do you think the front office should actually trade away Paul George to land Trey Murphy? Tell us your thoughts.